All right, everybody. Dr. Del Miller's here again with personalfitness.com. And today we're going to talk about your brain on food, the trick to eating better. You know, for the past several decades, the American public has been fed the same useless advice: eat less and move more. But this certainly hasn't prevented the obesity rate from skyrocketing among all segments of the population, has it? It certainly hasn't. Many well meaning nutrition professionals also gave the same inaccurate advice to their clients. The common thought has always been that a calorie is a calorie. So long as you eat fewer calories and move more, you should be able to keep your weight under control. Unfortunately, when it comes to your brain on food, the amount of calories involved is really the least important things. Let me say that again. When it comes to your brain on food, the amount of calories involved is really the least important thing. Why is that? Well, food activates the brain. You see, the past decade has been a very exciting time for brain researchers because new technologies have enabled them to see exactly what's going on in the brain and which areas are activated by food, drugs, or just thinking about food and drugs. Recent studies have validated what most of us proponents of a whole food diet have been teaching for years. Not all calories are created equal. In fact, a recent study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition reported that sugary foods and highly processed carbohydrates activate the same regions in the brain, the nucleus accumbens, associated with cravings and rewards that are also associated with drugs and alcohol. Ain't that something? So, consequently, each time you eat these foods, the brain releases dopamine, a chemical that mediates pleasure and reward. So, the end result being that over time, you will unconsciously be drawn to these same foods, like an addict seeking his next fix, and you thought you were in control. This is a process that can often spiral out of control very quickly because highly processed, high glycemic foods often cause a spike in blood sugar. So the body then secretes insulin to remove the excess sugar from the blood, which quickly leads to low blood sugar, or you crash. You've seen this before. You eat a candy bar, and then after a while you crash because all that sugar is pulled out of your bloodstream. And each time you have a bite of these processed foods, your brain will just light up like a Christmas tree, and your pleasure centers will be activated. The worst possible scenario, especially if you're trying to lose weight. Your brain light up like a Christmas tree with sugar. In addition, the brain will store this little chunk of information for future use. Believe me, it's going to remember what makes you happy. It's going to remember what activates your pleasure centers. And guess when it is most likely to use it? Yes, you've got it. After you've crashed and is experiencing low blood sugar. Why? Because it's going to light you up. It's going to get you happy. It's going to, it's going to rev you up. So that's what it's going to push you towards. So the bottom line is, folks, that the more you eat highly processed sugary foods, the more you will crave them because your brain will push you to eat more of them. The end result is that you're often unconsciously drawn to those foods, not because you lack willpower, but because your brain is like a 3-year-old sugar addict with the power to compel you to do its bidding, right? Unconsciously drawn to these foods. In my webinar, I talk about willpower. I talk about I talk about these things, your brain and food, and why willpower. Well, that's not going to do any good. Many people think that they lack willpower when they can't stick to a certain eating plan. But if you're eating the wrong foods, no willpower in the world is going to help you because you've got powerful hormones working against you. Now, add sugar to high fat foods such as ice cream, cupcakes, donuts, and you are doomed to junk food heaven. Why? because there's so many powerful hormones working against you, as I've just said. First, sugary foods increase your levels of ghrelin, a hormone that stimulates appetite and increases cravings. Secondly, the more sugar you eat, the more dopamine your brain releases. And dopamine is a newer hormone that regulates pleasure and memory, which explains why people become addicted to sugary, high fat foods. So, what's the trick to eating better? The beautiful thing about the brain is that the same mechanism that it uses against you can also be trained to work for you. Now, I put against in quotes because your brain can't tell the difference between good and bad. It acts based on the information it gets from a myriad of neurotransmitters. So, how do you trick your brain into doing what's in your best interest now? Simply by using the same food triggers it uses to develop cravings for sugary foods. In a recent study published in Nutrition Action Canadian newsletter, one of the researchers reported that the first foods that someone sees at a buffet usually influence what he or she takes, even if they don't end up taking that particular food. For example, if you see a bowl of fruit first, you are more likely to eat more fruits and less eggs and bacon. On the other hand, if eggs and bacon are the first things you see, then you're more likely to eat more eggs and bacon than fruit. Is that crazy or what? And you thought you had free will and willpower? Think again. Your brain is in charge all the way, every single time, moment of the day. 95% of the habits we have during the day is unconscious or unconscious habits. So think about that for a second. 95% of your habits are unconscious. Your brain is just doing what it's programmed to do, and you don't even have any idea what the heck it's doing. So here's a simple trick or hack that you can use to eat healthier with very little effort. Serve the healthiest foods first. Not with or after the other stuff. Start your meal with a fruit or a vegetable salad. Then eat the other stuff. To trigger healthier choices throughout the day, keep a bowl of fruit on the coffee table, at your desk, or anywhere you can see it. If you come to my house, first thing you see when you walk in the house is a big tray of all different types of fruit on the table. So I hope now you have a better understanding of how your brain controls your habits and the fact that your brain responds to food in the same way that it responds to drugs and alcohol. So fortunately, and unfortunately, it is very easy to hack your brain into doing what you want. You just have to know how to do it. That's all I've got for you today. But, I've got lots of things going on. Number one, I'm doing my free webinar on a weekly basis. So why not go to my website, personalfitness.com, and sign up for, my next webinar. I call my webinar, I Get Your Sexy Back, because over the course of the year, I've talked to dozens and dozens of women. And, a lot of them, they all tell me, I want to get my sexy back. I want to get my confidence back. I want to lose the weight for good. I want to recover from these health issues that plague me. I want to feel comfortable in my own skin again. Is that you? Then sign up for my webinar and let's talk about it. I'm going to show you the 5 secrets to get your sexy back, okay? When you've done that, you can also sign up for a health strategy call with me. Like I said, it's a free call, no strings attached. Most of the people I talk to don't even end up becoming clients because, we're not a good fit. I have to be a good fit for someone to work with them, okay? But I'm still here to help. So sign up for a free health strategy call. We're going to uncover the real problem that's causing you pain. What is it? Clarify what's working, what's not working. Where are you? Where do you want to be? Where do you want to go from here? We're going to figure out how to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be as quickly as possible. And we're going to explore where you are in the cycle of change. One of the most important things, a lot of people tell themselves that, they're ready to lose weight. They're ready to get healthy. They're ready to do this. They're ready to do that. But really, they might not be ready. Some people are at the pre-contemplation stage or the contemplation stage or the preparation stage. They're preparing to take action. Very few people are actually ready to take action. These are all the stages of change. And very few people are at the stage of change where they're ready to take action. So we're going to talk about where you are. We're going to uncover where you are based on what's going on and based on what you're doing and based on where you are right now. We'll figure it out. That's all I've got for you today. But as usual, may the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. I'm Dr. Del Miller at personalfitness.com. I'll see you on the other side